Set and shot in Chicago, The Bear tells the story of Carmine Brizzato, a brilliant chef working at the world's best restaurants. When his brother, who runs the family's Italian beef shop in Chicago, dies by suicide, Carmine returns home to take over. He finds the beef deeply in debt, with his brother's best friend trying to hold it together, but making a mess out of everything he touches. Like Carmine, the viewer is thrust into a chaotic and claustrophobic world, an environment that's both unfamiliar and unfriendly. And willingly we stay as the complex relationships unfold with plentiful portions of pathos and humor.
I really don't want Richie to know.
Okay.
Because somehow it feels more in my control to decide when and who I'm pregnant.
Congratulations! I fucking knew it!
What we'll focus on in this video is the color palette of the show, and answer the question we've all been asking for. Why is the bear so blue? The show's creator Christopher Storer was inspired by the look of films of the 1970s and wanted the series to have some texture and grit, which is evident, especially in the first season. Everything is greasy, noisy, and the clock never stops. The color that dominates in this period of the show is green. You might not realize straight at the beginning how green the show is until this flashback sequence in episode 2 where Carmine is working at his old restaurant. Widening the contrast between the scenes that take place at the beef and at the fancy restaurant took some extra time to achieve. They wanted it to feel blindingly bright. It had to feel almost heavenly. Nothing is out of place. The walls are perfectly clean, unlike at the beef where everything feels dirty and run down.
Housekeeping, chef! Again, what the fuck are you saying? Anyone understand what he's saying?
Housekeeping means you have to clean your stations because this place is fucking gross.
But the use of colors to show contrast from locations and settings isn't limited to just this example. The color grade and aspect ratio shift lets you know you've left Carmine's reality. The use of warmer colors indicate moments of hope or nostalgia. Brighter screens help us connect with characters who are experiencing hope. While nostalgia is typically associated with warmth, the show effectively portrays a disconcerting sense of nostalgia through its use of colors. In a standalone flashback episode titled Fishes, we get a peek into Carmine's upbringing, particularly focusing on Christmas dinner and the events leading up to it. The episode reveals that high-stress situations are not unfamiliar to Carmine, providing insight into why he feels at ease in chaotic kitchens. This installment highlights emotional abuse and complex family dynamics. Additionally, it introduces a significant presence of the color red, partly due to the holiday season. The combination of colors and the episode's tone conveys that the reality of nostalgia isn't always comforting. It encompasses challenging and sometimes traumatic moments beneath the veneer of warmth.
That's the worst I've ever seen her.
You fucking piece of shit!
There is peacefulness and calmness in some of the cinematography as well. Anytime we're outside of that kitchen, things are calmer, more settled, and the camera isn't moving so much. When you go in that kitchen, it's a different world. They wanted those two worlds to feel different. When they leave the kitchen, the camera is often still, it's beautiful frames, it's good lighting. It's a time for the audience to allow them to reset. And if they didn't do that, then the chaos of that kitchen would overwhelm the audience, which it still does a little bit. The kitchen is designed to never stop moving, except for family meals. In the first episodes, the color grading showed the kitchen as a dark and grimy place. By the final episode, it's a place of light and airiness. It subtly shows the changes the restaurant, the kitchen, and most importantly, the people have gone through. And it does this by reducing the amount of green color grade for those scenes. Just look at this shot of the kitchen from the first episode versus this one from the last one. Most noticeable color in Season 1 would probably be green, which suits the chaotic and gritty nature of the kitchen. In Season 2, which is more focused on characters and their development, the most noticeable color is blue. The three best-rated episodes of the Season 2 are Fishes, Forks, and the final episode. Since we already talked about the use of colors in Fishes, let's focus on the other two, starting with Forks. At first, Richie is portrayed as the main antagonist in the series. He challenges Carmine's leadership, dismisses any efforts to improve the shop's functioning, and proves to be a perpetual source of annoyance for nearly everyone. And he never takes anything seriously.
What kind of asshole is gonna put ketchup on a hot dog?
A child, Richie.
Child asshole.
But as the series goes on, a far more complex picture begins to take shape, and we learn more about Richie and why he behaves the way he does. Following the closure of the shop and its planned transformation into a more sophisticated dining venue, He finds himself without the one place where he felt a sense of belonging and fears being left behind. Hoping that Richie has it within him to make something of himself, Carmy sends him to stage at the 3-star Michelin restaurant. This is where our episode begins. In this episode, Richie needs to get up at the crack of dawn and go to the other side of town to clean forks for a week. He's upset about having to do what he sees as a lowly task like polishing forks. Rather than realizing Carmy sent him there to learn, Richie believes it's just a way to get rid of him. Right from the start of the episode, we can notice the aggressive blue color grade they used. To find out why the creators of the show decided to use a blue color palette for this episode, it's best to see how filmmakers used blue in the past. In cinema, the use of the color blue is often employed for its psychological and emotional impact. Different colors can evoke various emotions, and blue is associated with several feelings and moods. Blue is often linked with a sense of calm and tranquility. Filmmakers use it to create scenes that are peaceful and serene, helping to convey a sense of stability and order. Blue can also evoke a feeling of isolation and melancholy. Cold and desolate environments are often presented with a blue tint to emphasize the emotional distance or sadness within a scene. Deep shades of blue can be used to create a mysterious or enigmatic atmosphere. This is frequently seen in scenes involving suspense, crime, or thrillers, where a sense of ambiguity or uncertainty is desired. In science fiction films, blue is commonly associated with futuristic settings and advanced technology. It creates a sense of innovation and the unknown, contributing to the perception of a world beyond our current understanding. Blue is often used to depict nighttime scenes. The cool tones of blue can enhance the feeling of darkness and help create a visually appealing contrast in low-light situations. Let's see which of these 5 could fit for the bear example. The show is everything but calm, so we can rule that one out. There isn't much mystery that's being conveyed, so it's not that either. And it's not a sci-fi or high-tech theme too. Of course, there are night scenes, and those are usually blue. But the one feeling that resonated with the show is certainly isolation, which in this show is present a lot. So it's a perfect opportunity to use the blue color grade for this episode, where Richie is feeling lost, and he finally finds his purpose. The final episode features the same blue color palette. This colder color palette present in the kitchen also shows the progress they made from the greasy beef kitchen to the new bear kitchen, which can be seen through the whole show. Other than that, and the emotional reasons why they would use a bluish color grade, it's also because it looks more visually pleasing to most people. In fact, when we posted the video of how the bear would look if it was not blue, people were saying it looks like an indie project without the blue color grade. Although the show isn't constantly blue, it's still the color that's most associated with it, and the reason for that could be quite interesting. People tend to remember and judge an experience based on its most intense and final moments, rather than considering the entire duration. This is called peak end rule, and it applies to every experience we have, including watching movies and shows. This psychological bias is the reason why we often hear stories about the ending ruining the whole movie, and the reason why we remember the shark from Jaws so vividly, despite it having just 4 minutes of screen time. And it's also the reason why we assign the color blue to the bear. Forks is the highest rated episode of the show, making it a peak moment, while the final episode is the end. And both episodes feature a predominantly blue color grade, tricking us into thinking the show was a lot more blue than it actually was. If you want to make your videos and photos look like the bear, check out our LUTs and Lightroom profiles. Subscribe for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.